Good morning. Today, Fluffy and I are at Fish Lake Reservoir. We camped out here last night, and it's a very pretty place. It was very peaceful. We only had to share it with one other camper that's pretty far away. That's the dam to the reservoir, and last night we drove down on the road behind the dam, and it looks pretty disreputable back there behind the dam. We'll drive back down this morning and show you guys. I don't think that dam is in very good condition. What have you got stuck in your fur? What is this? Oh my goodness. Oh, you got one on your head. Okay. And you got one over here. Oh my goodness, you've got them all over the place. This is quite a little pile of weed seeds I just pulled out of Fluffy's fur. They're very pokey. We're all loaded up and ready to head down the road. We're just gonna go a very short ways and show you guys the back of the dam, which is kind of interesting. Let's go. Technically, you can camp down here, but I don't think I would do that. This dam isn't holding back a ton of water, but your life could still be in a bit of danger if it did decide to go. So we chose not to camp back here last night. Makes me wonder if they're essentially trying to drain the reservoir and either get rid of the dam or repair the dam. I don't know. I don't know the story of it, but it's kind of a neat place. That dam is definitely a really cool place, but we are headed down the road to someplace even cooler. Or hotter. You'll see. We are at Wild Rose Hot Spring. There are 3 pools here. This is the big main pool. It's good size. On this other side of this little bridge is another small little pool where I just soaked a little bit ago. And then just up the hill is a 3rd pool. It's the perfect temperature for a day like today. It's about 65 degrees out, and this water is 101 degrees. It's wonderful. This spring is located right off the highway, and it's literally a little highway stop. And it's a very refreshing thing to be able to soak in these springs after multiple days on the road. Fluffy is less enthused than his mom is about the hot springs. This is heavenly. All right, well, I've mucked around here long enough. I think it's time to get back in the car and back on the road. It looks like this destination, little hot spring, is not really going to pan out. It's in the national forest and there's plenty of camping around, but the hot spring itself, I just drove by it and it looks like it's a little too washed out, but we're gonna check it out. Gotta walk down this road a little bit to get to the hot spring. It's pretty easy to find. This is the hot spring, and as you can see, it's very washed out by the river. Carefully negotiate down these rocks. The water's actually a wonderful temperature, but I already took my bikini top off, so a little skinny dipping would be necessary, but I don't think that's a good idea here. I could walk the tiny distance back to my car and get my actual bikini top, but that's okay. I'm going to stay here for a second. It's really nice. Woo, hot spot. This is definitely prettier and nicer than it looked from the side of the road. Get out of here. That would definitely be the right temperature hot spring for soaking sore muscles. It's definitely warm, but we can't stay because dogs are not allowed, and I don't want to leave Fluffy just hanging out in the car. And so we're gonna go back to the car and rescue Fluffy dog. We're gonna continue down this road for a lot of miles. It's a dirt road in the Sawtooth National Forest. Beware of falling trees and limbs and flash floods and stuff. That's a sign we just passed. Which, no kidding, there's been forest fires going through here. So anyway, we are going to continue down this road and look for another hot spring, and we're going to camp by that hot spring. There's tons of camping back here, tons and tons, and the only spaces that I see are taken are the ones that have space for motorhomes. So I'm quite certain we'll be able to find a space up the road here, a ways. Somebody needs to put his head out the window. It's important. The road is starting to go up and away from the creek, and then I think it goes back down after we get over a little pass. Pretty sure we're, just going with the flow here. After a lot of a twisty and turny road, we have reached the Dollarhide Summit. And look at this view we are treated to. This is absolutely stunning. I had no idea what I would find coming up this road, and it's pretty amazing. Now we go down, but I'm gonna stop for a second on the way down, because on the other side of that pass, the view is equally amazing. We have made it down off the pass. Lots of little switchbacky things that are slightly reminiscent of doing Engineer Pass in Colorado, and it's just really cool. I'm super pleased I took this random road. We have made it down off the mountain and we found a camp spot for the night. We're right by a hot spring, and we could have camped a lot closer to the hot spring, but there were a lot of other people there, and all those campsites were kind of exposed. And this one's kind of tucked away in the willows and a little more private, and I like that. It's not right on a stream, but it's pretty close. We were walking back through the willows to check out this stream. I definitely need to keep an eye on Fluffy Dog at this campsite because he could get totally lost in all these willows. So I'm gonna keep my eye on him. And I think it's time to get camp set up and get some dinner. After that, if I feel like it, I might walk over to the hot springs. Someday I'm gonna get a roof rack so I don't have to haul all this stuff out of the Jeep. Someday is not quite now. We've got camp all set up. Time to make some chow. Super easy dinner tonight, which is some soup I'm gonna heat up. We're also gonna have a little bread because I got this little loaf of French bread a couple of towns ago. We add some oyster crackers to the soup, and doesn't get any easier than that. If I have time before the sun sets, Fluffy and I'll probably walk over to the hot spring area just to take a look. Probably not going to go into it tonight. I'm actually still kind of feeling like a little bit of a prune from this morning. So probably wait till morning to actually go in them, but it's a really pretty area, so we'll probably walk over there tonight. I've had my dinner, I've gotten my laundry done, and I think we have time to walk over to the hot springs. So that's what we're going to do. It's about a quarter-mile stroll from my little campsite to the spring area, and it's good to stretch the legs. We have not done much walking or hiking, and we need to. And I'm glad I got here kind of early because the cars keep streaming in. Lots of people with RVs and trailers looking for spots, and there are a lot around here, but people are having to go further and further away from the springs. I just looked at my phone and figured out that it's Friday night, hence all the people coming in. I've kind of lost track of days and have a little concept of what day of the week it is right now. Well, until I looked at my phone. Which is a nice thing about traveling. You can forget the days of the week, and that's a very good thing. There's a lot of people at the spring area, which is no surprise, and each individual little pool is kind of separate from each other, and they get hotter as you go up the little hill here. So many pools. Most are occupied. This one's not. I bet it's way hot. Let's see how hot this is. Oh, yeah, that's a little too hot. You could dip your feet in that one, but you wouldn't want to stay in it very long. We're going to hike up higher, closer to the source, since we're not getting in. How hot it is isn't a big deal. Way up the hill, you can see more steam. The source of the springs is way up there. We're hiking up to what looks like the source point. A lot of steam coming from up this hill. This is approximately the source point for all of that steamy water. The guidebook says it comes out of the hill at about 180 degrees, which I believe. It's actually kind of warm up here without even being in the water, and that it produces something like 250 gallons a minute. And it's not just one spring, it's multiple springs spilling into this little waterway. Really cool. So all that water comes streaming down this hillside into little mini streams, and people have dammed up the streams in multiple locations in order to make little soaking pools, and it's pretty sweet. Some of the pools are a little too hot, some of them are a little too cold, but I'm sure somewhere up here there's one that's just right. That is definitely a very cool place. But it's getting later, so we are headed back to camp and I'm gonna go get ready for bed. We'll see you guys in the morning. Good morning. It's a lovely day. We are just taking a little soak in the springs. It's a little hard to find one that's the right temperature, but in this lower one, if I move around, it's kind of cooler over here, warmer back there, and I can move around and find a good spot. But, what a great way to spend the morning. That was wonderful. We are getting back on the road now. I don't think we're going to go all that far today. I'm going to check out some more hot springs back in this national forest area, the Sawtooth National Forest. And I just thought I would show you guys a picture. I almost didn't go to these hot springs because of the picture in the book that I have of these hot springs. Let me show it to you. This is obviously an absolutely amazing spring area. And this is the picture they show in the book of it. A drainage pipe. Well, maybe it'll keep some people away. It is obviously a lot prettier than what they show in the book. This is a very lovely river canyon that we're driving through. I think it's 32 miles from here to Featherville, which is kind of the next soft goal. Do you think it's a lovely river canyon? You don't care. We've been driving down canyon for quite a while, and I keep on looking for a nice place to stop and have some lunch, and I have not found any because it's Saturday and everything is taken. So we're gonna carry on, which is a bummer. The river is getting wider and looks very fishable. So stopping for some lunch and throwing a rod in the river seems like a grand idea, but I can't find any place to stop and make that happen. After lots and lots of driving, we finally lucked out on a spot. It's kind of high above the river, but it looks like there's a not terribly sketchy path down to the stream. We'll see. We're gonna make some lunch and then might go throw a rod in the river. stuff is a little bit dusty. Today for lunch we're having good old-fashioned PB&J. Picked up some peanut butter at my last stop. I'm sure it's probably not the best peanut butter ever, but it will do. Generous helping of jelly. That might have been a little too much, but I do like a lot of jelly. Our completed PB&J lunch. That really makes me feel like I'm camping. And Fluffy finally came over to mooch. I have my rod set up. I have my fishing net because I'm an eternal optimist. And Fluffy dog, come on. Let's go this way. Good boy. And now I've got my Fluffy dog and we're gonna walk down this little path to the river. There are a lot of trees down here. Tree. Lots and lots of trees. I'm not sure if we're at the right place in the river to fish. I'm not sure if there's fish in this river. There probably are. I see a lot of fishermen. What I am 100% confident of is that I can catch a tree here. We're gonna fish anyway. I'm gonna put my net by my tripod so I don't lose it. High probability of me forgetting that it's there. The fly I'm choosing for today is this guy, and I'm using that because it was the first thing I picked out of my fly box. Oh well, it was worth a few minutes of fun. I definitely need to find a better place to fish than this. And I need to put my rod on, or my reel on the other direction, because I put it on the wrong direction. But that's okay. What a lovely day. Let's go find out what we're gonna do next. I'm definitely at a decision-making point right now, because obviously I've got the nice river below me. This is one of the few open campsites in the area. So I could camp here tonight. Or I could move a little further down the road. I'm only 30 miles down the road from where I started. Trying to decide, do I stay here or do I risk it and move on? Big risk because it's Saturday night and I might not be able to find a campsite. Decisions. Well, here's to hoping I've made the right decision. I went north out of Featherville down a dirt road, and we are going to take this to Atlanta, Idaho, and there's hopefully some camping somewhere around Atlanta, Idaho. We're just going to take a moment. One, to look at this beautiful waterfall, and two, I wanted to stop because I could see that a stock trailer was coming the other direction on this road, and there's not room for 2 cars. So it was a good place to pull over. That was a pretty cool waterfall and definitely worth a little stop. Time to carry on. We're on our way down the mountain. This has been an absolutely lovely little road. I have seen a number of camp spots, so I am hopeful that I will find more closer to town. But it's been quite nice, and we are gonna continue heading down. The road itself is only about 1.5 cars wide for most of it, and there are some pretty good drop-offs, so you do have to pay attention. But it's well graded and not a problem. Just I have to stop to do the selfie talking stuff because you don't want to take your eyes off the road. And you want to stop now and again just to look at the pretty stuff. It's very pretty. We are down off that road and headed on a well-graded road to Atlanta, and I'm seeing some camping spots, and washboards, and I'm just hoping Atlanta has a little bit more stuff than Featherville. There was nothing in Featherville. You would have blinked and missed it, so we'll see if Atlanta has something. I'd like something a little nicer than my SpaghettiOs for dinner tonight. We made it to a camping spot and managed to snag one of the few, I think, that are actually in this area that are dispersed camping, and I think we did good. There was nothing to be had in Atlanta for making a good dinner, so SpaghettiOs. It's my go-to camping food because it's easy and it's a whole meal in a can. Doesn't need to be refrigerated. I don't really eat SpaghettiOs when I'm not camping, but since I camp a lot, I do eat a lot of SpaghettiOs. But anyway, it's getting a little bit later and I need to start making some plans. We are in an area at the base of the Sawtooths, and there's a lot of hiking in this area. So tonight is research, and I got a lot of research to do. Research. So I'm gonna get to reading my books and perusing my maps and make a plan for tomorrow. We'll see you guys in the morning. Good morning. How are you doing this morning? Is it a pretty good morning? Is it a pretty good morning? Yeah? You're a good boy. In the eternal and wise words of Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord, I have a plan. I have part of a plan. The unknown part of the plan is that I don't have cell service, and so I can't do research into what hikes might be doable this time of year. We're at a kind of a tough time of year where snow isn't truly melted from the high country and it's too hot in the desert. So I want to go into the high country, but I need to find a little bit more about the conditions. So we have to get off this hill and out of this wilderness area and find some cell service so that I can get some more info. There are a lot of hot springs in between here and civilization, so we probably are going to stop at a few hot springs along the way. We've been traveling down a road along the middle fork of the Boise River, and it's very clear that there was a pretty big wildfire here. I'd guess, in my completely unexpert opinion, about 10 years ago, based on the regrowth. So sometime in the last decade, probably. But it's pretty extensive. It goes a long way. This is still a very pretty river canyon. I just stumbled along this really cool unmarked hot spring area. The upper pools are a little too hot and the lower pools are swamped, so there's not a good place for soaking, but man, you cannot beat the setting. This is Browns Creek Hot Spring behind me, and oh my goodness, that is so pretty. You do have to ford that river, and you can only do it in August, and the pools are swamped right now, but holy cow, that is gorgeous. This is a way cool hot spring. Unfortunately, it's about 90 degrees out and that water's hot. So I am not going in there, but you can camp right next to it. So this would be a great place to camp and sit in the hot spring at night. Are you waiting in the air conditioning? Is it good to hang out in the air conditioning? Yeah. This is a long and insanely beautiful canyon, and we've been driving almost 3 hours down it and are nowhere near the end. We still have 20 miles to go. These last 20 miles we've hit a shelf road above a reservoir that looks very refreshing. We are in desert country now and the temperature is 96 degrees. It is much warmer down here. We have arrived at the very cute town of Idaho City, and we're going to stop here, look on the cell phone for a little bit to see if the next plans are going to pan out. This is the cutest little town. It's adorable. It's like a little old west town. It's a very cute little old mining town, and they have kept a lot of the old character. We are not going to walk around, although I would love to. It is 96 degrees outside and it is too hot to walk around. Fluffy would burn his little paws on the pavement. I did do a little bit of resupply here at the local Sinclair station. I was hoping to go to a grocery store, but again, it's too hot to leave Fluffy. So I had to make do with what I could get at the Sinclair station, and for lunch we had a piece of pizza from Sinclair. So that'll do, and I managed to pick up something for dinner for a couple of nights, and now we are headed to find some place to camp tonight. It has been a long day of driving. We drove out of Idaho City through a lovely little river canyon and then up and down a whole bunch of little low mountains to finally arrive in Lowman, Idaho. Lowman's a little bit bigger than Featherville and Atlanta, but still a very small town. And so no real services. I think you could get gas there and some food, maybe a hotel / motel. But we don't need it. We found a lovely dispersed camping area by taking a random Forest Service road. We're the only people here, which is fantastic, and it's right on the South Fork of the Payette River? Middle Fork? I'll have to look. It's right on the Payette River, one of the forks of the Payette River. So we are going to walk down to the river and do a little fishing before having some dinner. All right, let's walk down to the river, little buddy. Once again, we only have a teeny tiny little slice of land to fish off of, but we're gonna make it work. Darn trees. I need to fish somewhere that lacks nearby shrubbery. Well, that's a wrap for fishing. but I am gonna dunk in this river. It's not warm, but it's not terribly cold, so I would like to get some of the road grime off. Oh, that's cold. That's very cold. I wasn't exactly able to put together a gourmet dinner with the fixins I could find at the Sinclair, but they did have hot dogs, so we're having hot dogs for dinner. One for me, one for Fluffy. That's a complete and balanced dinner. I'm quite sure of that. It's good. Did you put yourself to bed already? What a good boy. You put yourself to bed. We'll see everybody in the morning. Good morning. He's such a doof. Are you not ready to get out of the car yet? Are you just going to hang in the car for a little bit? You're such a good boy. Fluffy and I got up a little extra early this morning so I could find a hot spring to soak in before it gets too hot. And wow, I found the perfect place. This is Sacagawea Hot Springs, and there are hot springs strewn all up and down the river here. It's a beautiful, beautiful setting, and you can kind of find the pool that suits you, and the one I'm standing in right now suits me. Fluffy's up waiting in the car, mainly because there's too many little streams, hot streams running down this hillside, and he will burn his little feet. So he's waiting in the car. It's cool enough for him to do that right now. I am definitely calling this the best hot spring area that I've been to so far. This is the view downstream from my little hot pool. You can walk up that path right there and find many more hot springs along the river. And there's just a crazy amount of butterflies that I've seen around all the hot springs. I don't know why they're drawn to them, but tons and tons of butterflies. It's really cool. What an amazing place to end this portion of my trip. This is absolutely a stunning hot spring, and water temperature's perfect, the weather's perfect. It is just beautiful. But it's time to hit the road because we have more adventures coming. Thanks for coming along with us. We'll see you next time.